So that's me, who I am, and a taste of me. I like humor, I like sci-fi, I like stuff, blah, blah, blah. But that's the core. Single parenting would be my core, and giving back to the world and helping the world make this transition like a beacon, a guiding light in a tempest in the ocean, to help them get through there. And it would be really amazing to see that happen on a large scale, so that it's obvious this is an epidemic, and that if Cone didn't step in, or this network didn't step in, it would have just been completely disastrous. How I met Tim Lowe. It's crazy. In learning these, doing these books and writing them down, and then I was trying to pick up a second-time part-time job because my father, his wife, my mother passed away. And the story held him back, and we were trying to market it, but the publisher just wants too much money. So I'm thinking, I'll learn how to trade stock options, which you can take $50-$80 and turn it into $15,000 to $2,000 within a few weeks. But you got to know your stuff. You got to study it. I'm learning more myself than listening to others, kind of thing. Got the Sean, got the sun coming out. So here, my lady friend, it's her birthday. She's having a bad birthday. I'm thinking I'm gonna cheer her up. So I'm gonna look through these YouTube videos, birthday songs, send it to her. She likes YouTube and stuff like that. Most of us do, that are on our smartphones or tablets or whatever. And I think I seen the ad, but I seen it, and I tried to push down on the picture before or after that, and boom, my finger picked up on it. And this Asian man and this a white man are standing each other in a tropical area, and he's talking about how he wasn't fulfilled, working for a corporation, and that he was looking for something, and he found SFM allowed him to transition from his corporate job and become, financially independent through this company, thanks to Stuart Ross and him connecting with that. He went on to I found out that he's really good at sales and stuff. So whatever's the thing that made a difference in my life is that Tim had no problem. He felt comfortable expressing God, made a difference in his life, and with God's help, he's going to give back in a way to make the world better. And I'm paraphrasing all this, but I was just amazed at somebody that was financially independent. It's okay, Max. Financially independent, you could talk about God freely. I'm thinking, this is way too cool. So that's what got me switched from looking for a birthday video for my lady friend to I gotta check this out. So then at the end, I'm watching it, fill out an application, see if you could qualify to be a part of a community like this that wants to give back to others. And so then I put on there in my resume that I really do. It's not something I did to stand out, but I really do believe that God is going to light a planet. It's not going to go to hell in a handbasket. Yeah, there'll be turmoil, events that will happen, and God forbid people will die. Could be by the millions, but God is going to manifest himself on the planet. He's going to show up. It's going to be the great. He pours out his flesh on all. He pours the Spirit on all flesh. And it's just not just for a moment, but it's a transforming moment. And I believe it's going to be on the family more than anybody. The family is so, maybe that's why we have so many single parents, is so that, the self-centered spirit that we have in the world is trying to prevent that from ever taking place. But I don't think God can create anything out of anything at any time whenever he wants to. He's not locked in. That's why he always stays on schedule, because no matter what the challenge is, he can still put it on cue. If it's 3 years off, he can put it all on cue in just a couple of seconds. If it's off a couple of seconds, he'll wait till it's off cue for maybe 20 years or 100 years, and he'll put it all back on cue within a few seconds. But anyways, he wants to be our friends. And then on the family structure, where is the family structure at all? I'm not ragging traditional Christianity, but any religion, any culture, there's no family structure. But it's in hell and back, my father's life story. I believe his life was a prototype for men on how to love their wives unconditionally. And between my personal experience being a single parent and my father's experience of loving his wife unconditionally, and me being a part of that as a child and his family, that is the framework that people can use and tailor it to themselves in their own personal lives. But it's the framework. Just like we have bone structure as a framework for a human. But this is fashioned in a way that it's Clarence Cohen. And then Tim Lowe is fashioned as Tim Lowe on that bone structure. And Stuart Ross is fashioned on that bone structure as he is as well. But that made the big impression when Tim had no problem. And then Tim updates, every weekend. He has no problem making sure that person, he's not going to waste a time or a week. If that person doesn't know Jesus Christ is their personal Lord and Savior, Tim's going to lead them to Christ. Introduce Christ to them. Where is that in America, corporate world structure? Where is it that in the successful business people? The billionaires. I don't see it. It's extremely fascinating. So that's what I love about Tim. That's what drew me Tim. Tim introduced me to SFM. SFM's impact on me is double the amount now because of Tim's love for God and Tim's balanced view and connecting with people where they're at and helping them build the skills into finding out who they are, what God sent them here on earth to do, what is their purpose here, and giving back to people and making this a better place. He's given them the tools. He's given them the examples, the support, the encouragement, the prayers. It's like a whole package, and it's not like that. And I'm listening. No judgment against the community, but it's more politically correct. They're just more soft about it. Where Tim is more, he has no problem giving God the glory and the credit. And that stands out to me. Another thing that stands out is that, wow, my mind just drew blank. I am so newbie. Is if Paul went around and he was a tent maker, but he went out around and he was ministering the word of Christ. He was revealing the word of Christ, through the Old Testament references as well as explaining things, which we get a lot of books written in the New Testament by Paul. But I gotta watch Max. Trying to guide his son here. Is that Paul took care of him as a tent maker, so he's traveling what the world is back then, the commerce, the interconnection with mankind, and I'm sure he, excuse my French or English, he made badass tents. So everywhere he went, they wanted his tents. I'll wait until Paul comes and gets a tent. Tim reminds me of like a modern day Paul. So it's like Paul 2.0. That's what Tim Lowe is to me. Now, I've only scratched the surface or just been a little bit introduced with Tim. I have not worked shoulder to shoulder with Tim, but I love Tim because he's open and he's genuine. He's natural. He's not cookie cutter. He's not explaining himself. It's professional, but he's just natural. He does it like 50 million times better than I do, but that's the example. So that's the impact. The SF has been a double impact for me. Not only the experience of mentoring, or even if it be apprentice. If I was apprentice of Tim Lowe, that has doubled the impact. Because now here you got to caliper a man the way he is, that is like a Paul 2.0 version. If Paul was born at this time, that's what Paul would be doing. He'd be into marketing online because it's connecting everybody together. How many ums have I said? Probably 30 million. So the impact now, I'm able to learn how to market, connect. I built websites back in 99, 2000, before websites were really that popular. And I didn't know how to build them, and this guy was making $25,000 a year, and he was a misfit in the company that I was currently working for. Nobody wanted to deal with him, but yet he was a good worker. And I says, what do you love doing? He said, motorcycle driving. He wins these races, number first place, stay seconds in the nationals. And how can you do that? How can you place like that so much? And he talked about how it's tuning the shock, and you got to get your body weight with the machine that you have, so that when you hit the ruts and stuff like that, you're just like a Swiss watch going through there, so you're not being jerked all to pieces, and you're trying to do, your reaction time slows down. So that's how you can get ahead of everybody and win. I said, well, why don't you fine-tune people's shocks so they can have an opportunity to do it themselves? He said, really? I go, yeah, I'll build your website. Didn't even know how to do it. But I was dedicated in making this life a change in this rebellious person. He was perceived rebellious in the company. And I think I got my... Anyways, in the company. So we built this website. We researched it. We got him on top 10 Google. And this guy is making $250,000 a year. He left the company. I'm still there making way less than him. But it was just accelerating, being dedicated to a person that other people gave up on, and watch his life be transformed. That's what I want to do in my life around the planet. Everybody. I have 2 autistic grandchildren. One is multiple autisms. I thought, he just needs his, he doesn't have a father in his life. He needs his butt whipped really hard, let him know there's a man and blah, blah, blah. No. They have an own language themselves. So I dedicated. I searched online. I listened to my daughter's insights, what she was seeing on observation. His type of child, he would be a child for the rest of his life. But she saw things. She saw secret spots where she would flip things around in her conversation. And it's a whole language in itself. And she connected with her son, and he's coming alive. He was a hellion. He was busting TVs and trashing things. I had to lock my doors so he wouldn't steal things and stuff. But now he's making YouTube videos, and I'm learning. I'm asking him how to do them. He's wanting to build computer programs, and he's got all